Hello and welcome to Reviews by the Slice. My name is Tony Wynn, and that
Chris Penson.
is Chris Pinson, as he said, and we are talking some films. We're having a little pizza from our
That's right.
good friend Casey.
That's right.
You might
Reviews
have
by
heard
the
of.
Slice.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about the 40th anniversary of the movie Clue.
Did you have one?
What's that?
I didn't figure.
No. So this movie came out 40 years ago, in 1985. I was 1 year
I
old.
was not present on Earth, nor being thought of, I can assure you.
Okay. This movie is obviously based off of the very popular board game, Clue. And this was also very exciting. The first time that, Chris, you've ever seen the movie, right?
Yes, for as long as it's been out, I've known about it. I've known part of the cast, but I actually have never seen the movie. So last night did some homework. I did in fact watch the movie. And when you talk about a great ensemble of characters, you look at what the 80s did. The 80s really had a great decade run of movies featuring a number of either burgeoning actors like The Outsiders, or it had a cast of established characters. I mean, look at this leaderboard. We're talking Tim Curry, Christopher Lloyd, Martin Mull. I mean, 3 guys off the bat you can look at and say, yep, all 3 of those guys, Hall of Fame actors, either Broadway specialists, big screen, or a variety of both. So to me, as soon as I saw this cast as a kid, I knew it'd probably be funny. But to watch it now, yesterday, in the 40th anniversary of it, again, being old school, appreciating the humor, understanding the jokes, having an idea of who these characters and people are from different movies, I thought it was a great make, and I thought the ending of it definitely threw me for a loop. So I definitely did not know what I thought I knew about the ending of Clue.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a few years since I've seen the movie, and just forgot just how silly and zany it was. Even something as subtle as Tim Curry stepping in the dog poop and just everyone smelling it. I mean, you kind of thought that maybe that would come back later in the movie. It doesn't. It's just a gag.
It's just a gag
for that moment. But yeah, seeing all these young faces, that obviously would go on to do really great iconic films, and even you mentioned 3 of them there. I mean, I remember Madeline Kahn from Blazing Saddles, Michael McKean, from Spinal Tap, and Better Call Saul. So I mean, just seeing all these faces and being like, oh man, I remember these people. I forgot that they were all in the movie. So yeah, it was a treat to see it all again. And I remember one of the endings. I remember that it had multiple endings,
yes,
but I was like,
which was cool.
So the fun of kind of watching the movie again is trying to see if all the little things that is revealed is truly what happens there. But gosh, this movie is so fast paced as well that it was hard to really keep up. I don't know if. I mean, did you feel? You said maybe you felt the same way, that it was a little bit of a struggle of trying to figure out who did it, because everyone had a motive to an extent, but when they broke it down, I was just as confused as all the other characters. I was just like, what? I know there's a bunch of stuff, but it just does not give you time to really process what's going on. But granted, it's a limited time because it's a movie.
Yeah, okay, right. So for this movie being about just over 90 minutes long, right? Again, I thought the beauty of movies back in the day, kind of like music, right, was that the songs of the day, the average song back then was 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
A movie back then, if you reached 2 hours, that was a big film. And so again, for them to cram 90 minutes in this movie, like you talked about, right, you have to have everything in place, and it's got to be in a perfect order. And it really was. Now, I will say, spoiler alert, it's only been 40 years since it came out, so I'm going to tell you some of the things that happened. I did find it very interesting, and certainly what threw my investigative mind off was the fact that in the movie, you do find out that there was some happenings with the cook, and there were some happenings with Yvette, right? That threw me off, because playing the game as a kid growing up for years, right? Obviously, there wasn't really any of that foul play that could be played by the rules of the game. So that did kind of throw me off a bit. Because in my mind, as we're going through the various scenes, once they split up, right, and you have the pairs of twos, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, right, I've seen a couple instances where, right, there's a time where a Colonel Mustard, right, he gets separated from Miss Scarlet, right, so they go two different ways. And so you could obviously, okay, one was here, one was there. I could see how this person might have been either turning off the lights or killing Mr. Body or going after the cop that shows up. But then other aspects, you go, well, based upon what I saw with my own eyes, I don't understand how anybody could have done that. So again, I did appreciate the wrinkle. Again, it threw off my game knowledge, but I appreciated the wrinkle.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked a lot, and you talked about fast pace, was at the very end there, where in the original first ending, where they played basically the Scooby-Doo game, where from room to room, Tim Curry and the crew were running back and forth. No, wait, to the library. Okay, then we went to the study, and they were flying back and forth. Right? And that was funny because of how they shot it and the ways they made it kind of, again, helped you rewind the tape, per se, in your mind and bring everything back to the present. So I did appreciate that. Again, those couple wrinkles, they were fun to watch. Again, a couple threw me off, but for the most part, I will say, I did not see how they were going to get everybody in the same room having similar information or how everybody was going to be involved or have dirt on each other.
Yeah.
But using the U.S. government as some kind of main topic that everybody was connected to, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, just the cleverness of writing it in that way of. Especially since it's just about a board game, which I don't think has any like big backstory. It's just who did it, they came up with something that kind of all makes sense and kind of pieces it together. At the same time, like there's no way that we would know, Colonel Mustard. Like we knew that he was a colonel and did some things, but like that he had something to do with nuclear fusion and
that felt like a bit of a stretch. But you could still buy because he's a colonel and a high-ranking member of the military.
Yeah. So like though it, some of the explanation is just kind of thrown out there, and there's information we would not have known. There was enough to kind of be like, okay. Who's missing in these scenes and things like that. Again, when you're having a second watch and trying to pay attention to the little stuff, like they do a good job of things like that. But obviously, with the actual ending, the very last ending, it was multiple people doing, like they're all guilty. So like that kind of made more sense than just one person because. And maybe you felt the same way when you're watching the gloved hand. You're like, is that a man's hand or is that a woman's hand?
100%. I was like, it's delicate, so it looks like a woman, but the glove looks thick. So I wasn't sure if it was OJ's hand or somebody else's hand. But then again, if the glove does not fit, you must have quit.
Absolutely. So yeah, I thought that just going through it all once again and. Just the dialogue, the little quips and everything. And then I love how it just kept building. Like they established we've got 45 minutes for the police to show up.
That was a cool wrinkle. I like that.
Yeah, even though that's absurd, right?
Yeah,
call the police.
Stupid.
But like, okay, like we just established that, okay, in 45 minutes, the police are going to show up. And it definitely builds the like tension of like, oh no, like we have to figure this out, and it just keeps escalating and escalating. I love just murder mysteries, and Chris, as you know, it's something that I actually host and do and create.
Halloween, Christmas, we've gone 2 in a row.
Yeah, here at Ozarks First, we actually do a murder mystery with the people here in the building, on air and off air. We all come together and. I build a elaborate story and try to live up to what Clue is,
And believe me, it is a lot of fun. And so far, in the 2 times we've done it, Tony has hit a home run each time. So believe me, he does a very good job. Okay, now I do want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Because, so what I like the way they connected the, quote, Washington characters.
Yeah.
And the fact that I appreciated that they had one of them, being the lady, one of them, run a brothel-esque service. I thought that was very smart. Because, what was it? probably close to a decade ago, maybe a little bit longer. I might have been in college, late in college. But I remember down in, I believe it was somewhere in New Orleans, maybe in New Orleans, I think it was. There was a time, again, a decade or more ago, where these three powerful ladies had for years and years run a long-standing brothel down there in the French Quarter.
Okay.
And they were going to get shut down or something was going to happen to them negatively. And I remember it was a very high-profile thing because they said, look, you can play the game. If you want to bust us, we got the little black book. And we know everybody in this book holds some kind of power.
Yeah.
And unless you want to keep it that way, where nobody knows your dirty secrets, don't screw with us. And so I found it funny that the first ending, they had her as the person behind the whole thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool because, again, knowledge is not a currency, but it is a very powerful currency when it comes to what you can extort from other people.
Yeah. Again, I don't think that there was much backgrounds from the board game. So
No, hardly at all.
Just integrating something something like that, into it was just again really really clever writing and putting it together. Yeah, the world's oldest profession,
I mean,
right?
hey, again, it's listen, they have kept secrets for thousands and thousands of years. So again, that's why I appreciate that. Now, where it comes into play, where the police officer comes in, right? Not the FBI, but the police officer. That was interesting. How again he shows up and then he just randomly gets locked in the room. I thought that quote his police instincts would have made him a little smarter than getting locked in the room a second time.
Yeah.
That to me was a bit of a plot hole. But outside that, again, I like the way that played out. And I like the way that, of course, Mr. Green's character seemed to be, right, this kind of dopey, accident-prone guy. And, of course, in the end, he's the man that stops Tim Curry and says, hey, don't worry, Hoover, we got him right here.
I told you it wasn't me.
Yeah, he was a liar.
Yeah, I mean, all the characters. What's amazing is that we meet, we follow kind of the core 8 people, but really, there's Mr. Body, the cook, the police officer, and then later the FBI,
and don't forget the singing telegram girl.
and the singing telegram.
Very
girl.
minor role, but did play a part.
Yeah, but it's amazing that within 90 minutes, we know all of these characters. They're so distinct. They're so memorable. I think it's just a testament to the writing and the actors themselves of just portraying these amazing characters, and especially Tim Curry. Gosh, he really stands out in this film.
Yeah, again, right. Whether it's him being in Rocky Horror Picture Show, this movie, of course, one of my childhood favorites, Muppet Treasure Island. I mean, take your pick, right? Tim Curry, again, whether it's Broadway or the big screen, Tim Curry, of course, as we know, is an all-time legendary actor.
Yeah.
And for him to be in this role, I thought he did a great job of being that butler, or as you would find out, the head man behind everything.
Yeah.
But again, it was cool the way that they made you think, or at least gave you a little bit of uncertainty. Could this guy be the guy behind it? He's got all these instructions. He knows what to do.
Yeah.
And he's got a faint idea of everything, but he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that in the back of your mind, you might have guessed he could have been seriously involved. But again, if you played the game Clue like we have growing up, to think that the butler or to think that a maid or somebody else outside the central characters of Green and White and Plum and all these characters, to think they might have something outside of that, it wasn't far-fetched, but it was also outside the realm of what we grew up playing with the board game.
Yeah, exactly. Just to reiterate, just how clever this movie is pieced together, and 40 years, it's still one of the best murder mystery films.
Yes.
Created. Are you familiar with Knives Out?
Okay, so I am familiar with the movie, but didn't see it. But from the people I've talked to that did, they said if you liked Clue, you would like this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
You liked it that much?
Oh yeah, I mean Knives Out is really really great.
Okay.
I would strongly recommend it, as it's definitely a large cast of very very talented actors all pieced together to do it's all within a mansion. I mean it's very Clue-esque, and the twists and turns and everything. It's not what you expect, and then when it becomes what you expect it to be, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. It messes with you again.
Okay.
Yeah, it is really, really solid.
Okay. So almost kind of like the way they did this here, where you have 3 endings, right? The first one turns out to be, who's that? Mrs. White. Yeah, Mrs. White was the original in the first ending. All right. So my question to you: when the first ending came about, right, and you saw the movie in your
Scarlet, yeah.
Sorry, in Scarlet, yeah, right. So when you first saw this movie, did you think that you had the killer? Like, did you think you knew who the killer was? And were you surprised, again, did you think that there were multiple killers involved? Or did you think it was just one person being that sneaky, that smart to get around the house?
So I was not sure. I mean, like, the gloved hand looked to me very masculine, so I
Right.
thought it was going to be one of the guys.
Me too.
And when Tim Curry said he knew who it was, and then kept referring to them as he.
Yes.
That, like, I was like, okay, so that narrows it down.
100%.
It isn't him. It isn't, so it was either, Mr. Green, Professor Plum, or the Colonel Mustard,
Yes.
right? So, amongst those 3, I wasn't exactly sure, but I kind of leaned more towards Colonel Mustard.
Same. Yep.
But yeah, obviously when they showed that, the first ending, that it was Miss Scarlet, I was like, okay, well, like at least there's more motive and like it all makes sense. And then to my surprise, oh wait, there's alternate endings and then an actual ending. I would say of all the people, I was not suspecting the butler. Unless it was like at the beginning of the movie where I'm like, I wonder if it's the butler, but
Right.
like I didn't really take it seriously because he isn't, a core character in the original games, and plus he was supposed to be sort of our surrogate, person in there that we're following.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, okay, I will say this, right? The fact that it was Tim Curry, like, again, that somewhat tipped me off that this character might play a major role at the end.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because he was the master of ceremonies, for lack of a better term, right, and narrated everything and
MC
brought everybody
Curry.
together. Yeah, like, having all that knowledge, it would make you understand, though, why he knew so much, because as you are led to believe, oh, we've all got these letters. I got one too.
Yeah.
I have this evidence. I have yada yada yada. So again, it was very interesting on how that played out. But I did appreciate the fact that, again, everybody was connected, and as he says at the end, I figured out a way to get all my loose ends tied up and taken care of, and now we're just gonna move on like this never even. I thought that was brilliant. I did not expect them at the end to say, we'll just put the bodies in the basement, we'll lock the doors, and no one will ever know.
Yeah.
And I really thought that's how the movie was going to end. I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? For once, I'm cool with that, right? There's no
Yeah.
justice. There's no the good guys breaking at the end. It's just, all right, we'll shake hands, let bygones be bygones, and go back to your life. I was cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where that final, like, that Mr. Green, was an agent the whole time and not a homosexual.
I was gonna say, right, again, you could tell when they made that declarative statement,
Yeah.
when he introduced himself about what his quote evidence against him was. That was interesting because that made my brain go, oh yeah, this is 40 years ago in the 80s when AIDS and HIV were brand new, and being gay, being homosexual was still very much a major taboo thing.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's the only evidence they have is that he's gay. I'm like, okay, well, again,
Yeah.
but again, for the time, it made sense because that's how it was.
Yeah.
Although I will say, no offense, the ending scene there though, the last ending after Tim Curry confesses, they're all going to go their ways. Curry's got the gun pointing at them, and then Mr. Green just dramatically, gets the jump on him and shoots him and kills him.
Yeah.
I was like, really? That's how he's gonna die? That's how we're gonna end this one with some melodramatic way of springing into action? I was like, maybe would have written that differently. Maybe at least give him a distraction or something to say, okay, somehow, some way, I was not paying attention when so-and-so was going to jump at me and then point their gun and then shoot me. I'm like, could have worked on that.
Yeah. Then again, like, we don't really know who Mr. Body, really is.
Correct.
So, like, I mean, he was able to, kill some people and
Right.
had the decent shot and everything like that. But, like, again, like I don't think nobody was expecting Mr. Green to do anything,
No.
as he was the jumpy guy or whatever. I
Which-
mean, yeah, could it have been just shot differently or whatever? Sure. But I mean, the whole time, watching it, even when he slaps.
Yes, with Mrs. White or no, Mrs. Peacock.
Miss Peacock, yeah, like I mean,
I had
it was
to get her to
way
stop
off.
screaming.
But like, yeah, this isn't an action,
Of course, I
movie,
know. But I was
so-
just like, he's pointing the gun at you, and then Mr. Green's like, like I was like, come on, man. At least distract him, Curry. I gotta figure he's not gonna go, oh no, look at this, he's pulling a gun out. But outside those minor complaints, I did think it was a great movie. Again, I thought just like all good thrillers / investigative movies do, they keep you on the edge of your seat. They throw you a few curveballs here and there, and they make you go, wait a minute. I thought this was related to this. And so no. There's a few more lines you don't know below the surface. And once you all figure it out, then everything comes into vision. So again, I like the movie a lot, and I thought between the cast, the silliness, the puns, and again, some of the way they tied all the storylines together to make everybody in some kind of guilty party, that was a really well done movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad after 40 years it's still around. It's still something that can hold up, after so many years. So yeah, happy birthday to Clue, and yeah, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I hope to God if Hollywood sees this, take my advice. Don't remake it. Thank you.
They don't have to, because I think Knives Out has kind of taken over the at least that genre. But yes, there's no need for another Clue. It could be Clue-esque, but let's leave
That's it.
Clue as is. So okay, well that's our episode of Clue on Reviews by the Slice. We're gonna finish up these pizza
right.
slices, and we will see you next week.
Adios.